Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones, and I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Really do appreciate your time. Shouts out to everybody that's tuning in right now. Really do appreciate it. Much love to you. Come on in. This is an impromptu show, of course, so I know some people have issues with me waiting about 1 or 2 minutes to start the show. All right. I mean, I get it, right? I understand you're all excited, ready for some Saints talk, but it's just to give people opportunity to file in. I don't really do notifications like that. So just want to give people opportunity to be able to come in if they want to be able to check out the show from its beginning. If you notice, I didn't refer to myself as TJ Jones. I'll get into that a little bit later. But anyway, thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Much love to you. Shouts out to all of the people that's here, whether you're in the chat or you're listening at home, at work, wherever you are, wherever you may be. On this edition, we're going to be talking about Saints OTA. So we're going to be talking about some of those storylines. And also, we're going to be opening up the phone lines because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think about the New Orleans Saints and the direction the team is going in. A lot of positive things I'm hearing from OTAs, from Saints reporters and spectators. So that's very positive. So we're going to get into that. Always a pleasure. I always say, man, this is the most interactive Saints podcast. No disrespect to anybody, but it's true. I feel like we very, very interactive. I don't worry about a person paying or if a person didn't pay. Everybody is an individual here, and I take a lot of pride in that. And I'm also seeing like other podcasts doing the same thing. So, man, shouts out to them. It's all about the people, and you all make this show what it is, and I never ever take that for granted. Shouts out to everybody here. If you're new to the channel, you want to learn how you can interact with the show, all you have to do is put them comments in the chat. Hey, what's going on? It's TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and we're about to do what it do, baby. You probably have something to say about the black and gold that's burning hard in your soul. Take those fingers, give them the working. Put them comments in the chat.
Put those comments, put them in the chat.
All you got to do is go ahead and put them things in the chat.
I want to hear what you got to say.
I want to hear from you.
Talk to me and not so bad.
Oh, you ain't got to worry about it. All you got to do is talk to me. I talk back to you now.
Put those comments, put them in the chat.
All you got to do is put them comments in the chat.
I want to hear what you got to say.
I want to hear from you.
Talk to me and not so bad.
Talk to me. I guarantee you. I'm going to talk right back to you.
Nice.
That's right. All you have to do is put those comments in the chat for those that are checking it out live. Now I understand people got lives, you got families, you got things to do, you got all these different things going on. So you probably can't catch the show live. Shouts out to them after show boys.
Shouts out to them after show boys. Shouts out to them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys.
Shouts out to all the after show boys and after show girls out there. Thank you so much as well. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and get it started in here. Talk a little bit about Saints OTAs. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, there's a lot of positive things coming out of OTAs. And you really want to hear that, especially since last season the Saints didn't make the postseason, underachieved in a lot of people's eyes, my eyes, your eyes, everybody's eyes. They underachieved because they, according to schedule makers, and you have to agree to, with the circumstances, they had a really easy schedule. Like based on the quarterbacks they played, based on the strength of schedule, you combine that with the injuries to the quarterbacks and people of importance for those respected teams, they underachieved. So there's a bad taste in the mouth of the Who Dat Nation. And for us to hear these positive things coming out of OTAs, I mean, it's a godsend at this point. And, there's one thing that has been making its rounds, and that is Trevor Penning. Trevor Penning has been on the left side. He was drafted in the first round. He was supposed to be the successor to Terron Armstead. It hasn't worked out. Trevor Penning is a work in progress. But the good news is the Saints aren't ready to wash their hands with him just yet. And head coach Dennis Allen spoke a little bit about Trevor Penning and the decision to move him from the left side to the right side.
Yeah, look, I think you're going to see a few things throughout the course of training camp where we're going to, maybe try some different things. I think that's kind of the direction that we're looking at right now, and really working Taliesin over on the left side and giving Trevor an opportunity to work on the right side. We're still waiting to see, where Ryan Ramczyk is when we get, probably to training camp. It'll be the first time that we would even potentially see him. So I think that's kind of the thought process.
So as you can see, he says nothing is set in stone, but I think it's pretty safe to say that the Saints want Taliesin Fuaga on the left side. I mean, from the time he stepped foot on a practice field for the New Orleans Saints, they had him on the left side. So that tells you everything that you need to know. It also tells you that the fact that 2 practices have gone by from rookie minicamp and also OTAs, and he's still there on the left side, they see something in him. We all know what Taliesin Fuaga is as offensive lineman. He's mean, he's nasty, and we feel like some of the guys on the offensive line need to mimic his enthusiasm and his passion for playing the offensive line position. So moving him to the left side might be what the doctor ordered for the New Orleans Saints on the offensive line. So he is definitely, in my opinion, a cornerstone type player, someone that you can actually build your offensive line around. But I did mention once again, Trevor Penning moving from the left to the right. We know that the status of Ryan Ramczyk in his career, there are question marks surrounding that. We don't know if Ryan Ramczyk is going to be playing in NFL this season, let alone at all. We don't know. We don't even know. So a lot of question marks surrounding Ryan Ramczyk. So him getting these opportunities at right tackle might pay dividends for him as well as the New Orleans Saints, especially if they're going to be counting on him to be playing that position when the season starts. But Trevor Penning, you can talk about him. I mean, I know that when you're a first-round pick, people expect for you to hit the ground running, to be an instant success, a star, but it doesn't always work that way. And the best thing about this is you have a new system, you have new coaches that can develop you. So the Saints kind of pressed the reset button with Trevor Penning, and Dennis Allen believes that it might be a breath of fresh air for the big man.
I think one of the reasons why you look at potentially putting him over on the right side is exactly that. It's a totally clean slate. It's a different position. It's a different coaching staff. It's a different scheme, and it's really hey, we're starting over here. We're starting new. And so I'm excited about it. I think, I think it could be something good for him. And look, we haven't set anything in stone. We're going to evaluate how everything goes. And ultimately, our job is to get the best 5 out there come opening day.
So this is a fresh start for Trevor Penning. And look, I know how we do it. Once again, we want these guys to hit the ground running, and I get it. But at the same time, this is a work in progress. Everybody is not going to go out there and just be an all pro. You got to take into account he came from a smaller school, Northern Iowa. He's playing at a completely different speed. Like, honestly, some of the competition he played on a collegiate level is not the same as some of those Power 5 conferences. So you're asking a guy who played at a relatively moderate pace when it came to collegiate football, and you just thrust him into this lineup and you expect for him to be everything you want him to be. In some cases that work, but in other cases they don't. So actually moving him to the right side, this can actually be something great for Trevor Penning. It will give him a fresh start, gives him an opportunity to be able to hit that reset button on his career. And honestly, it helps us to change the way that we think about Trevor Penning. We're looking at him from the left side perspective. Let's try to take a look at him from the right side. He's going into his 3rd season. I don't feel like it's the time to just throw this guy away or label him. We got to be careful with that kind of stuff. But let me read some of your comments before we get into some more sound bites. I mentioned a little bit later in the show, I'll be taking a few of your calls just to see what you all have to say. So I'll be putting that link in the chat really, really soon. In the meantime, I asked everybody to hit that like button. Please hit the like button if you enjoy the State of the Saints podcast. Look, we're trying to grow, okay? If you guys want the State of the Saints podcast to grow, if you enjoy the content, all I ask is that you hit the like button. And if you're new, I ask that you subscribe. If you listen to the show, you watch the show, please subscribe to the channel. All right. So it helps the show to grow. It helps put more eyes on the show. And that's what it's all about. All right. So if you can help me with that, I would really appreciate it. But let me read some of your comments here. Paul says that song is hard. Well, I appreciate it, man. That comes from that old noggin right here, man. Creativity right here. Y'all be sleeping on the writing skills, man. Now, honestly, I feel like if I knew I could actually write songs, if I knew that in my 20s, I don't know, man. Maybe your boy have a couple $1 million in the bank. Because I couldn't tell you, like, how I come up with some of these lyrics. Like, I guess because I'll tell you, like, it's a long commute from my house to my job at the radio station. It's probably like 45 minutes to an hour. If you combine the fact that I drop Paxton off at school every day before I go to work. So I spend a lot of time in a car and a lot of time in my thoughts. And I don't know, just things just pop in my head, man. And then I just get motivated to do it. And sometimes, I try certain things, but it's all about entertaining you all and giving you all something that's creative. I'm never going to stop doing that. So I hope you all enjoy the little nuances, of things that I try to bring to the show. But thank you for that. Welcome to the chat, Panther Prime. Yeah, what's going on, Panther Prime? Appreciate you for being here, man. Let's see. Oh, Lord. Here's a friendly Denise Allen. Look, all I said, honestly, I'll tell you all the time. I'm not the biggest fan of a Dennis Allen press conference because they kind of cookie cutter, but I actually enjoyed this last press conference he did. Like, I feel like he's getting a little bit more comfortable and he feels like it's his team. And you combine the fact that, the powers that be have his back. You know what they try to do to make sure that he's comfortable. So I actually enjoyed it. I feel like this was probably his best press conference I've ever heard him have. Like I said, most of the time it was the same old stuff, some things we got to clean up, this, that, and the third. It becomes a little bit redundant, but I actually enjoyed this one, man. I think that you're starting to see each and every year, it's starting to feel like it's his team. Hopefully for him, it's not too late. All right. Hopefully he can get this team on track and we can start winning some games and, and have a product that we can actually enjoy as onlookers and fans. Appreciate the love. Charlie, shouts out to you, Panther Prime. Let's see. Make sure y'all hit the like button. That's all. Look, that's all I ask. And if you watch the show all the time, just subscribe to the channel. I mean, I think I looked at the analytics And it's like 60 or 70% of the people that consistently watch this show, right, and they've subscribed. And then there's another 30% that hasn't. So if you're a part of that 30%, I'm just asking you to just subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel to grow. It helps put more eyes on this podcast. And I enjoy, the community that we created, but want to let everybody else know about it. I work pretty hard to be able to, do this show and do these things. So I'm just asking for your help. If I'm Kubiak, I'll tell DA, you still in your lane, or you stay in your lane, and I'll stay in mine. Let me handle the offense. You don't. Well, Jerry, I think that's what you want to see. And I think that's what you're going to see. I think that Klint Kubiak is a guy who has shown that he has leadership qualities. He's not the rah-rah guy. He's more hands-on from the things that I heard. And I think that Dennis Allen trusts him. And I think that was what Dennis Allen wanted. He wanted somebody that all he has to do is kind of, tuck his head in the room, see what you're doing, making sure everything's on up and up, and keep it moving. We know what Dennis Allen is to the defensive side of football. The defense is going to be formidable. I know some people, they say, they got some reservations about DA. That's fine. But I really think that he's a really good defensive guy. And if he can focus mostly on that defense, all the while being a facilitator as a head coach, I think the team could be successful, especially if Klint Kubiak can be able to utilize these skill players correctly. And from everything that I've seen and everything that I heard, it looks like he will. Shouts out to you, Pammy. Thank you for being here. I see Pammy up in here and getting many shouts out, which he should. Shouts out to you, Pammy. You always support the show. Thank you so much. Says he was being coached by Doug Marrone. Penning will look like a completely different player this year. Well, Calvin, look, I'm optimistic about it. I'm not throwing guys away. Look, I know how hard it is to develop as a football player. And it's not going to always happen overnight. And I just think that we kind of look at the outliers and anomalies, and we expect for guys to kind of follow suit. I talk about C.J. Stroud and how good he was in his rookie season and how talented he was and how he didn't look like a rookie. And now I feel bad for these other quarterbacks that are coming in because now they're going to expect to look like C.J. Stroud or better. But I think when you start like making or thinking that everybody is going to look the same, I think that you kind of devalue what you're actually seeing in real time. And I think Cam Newton kind of said that on Club Shay Shay one time. I was looking at an interview, and he said that he made it hard for a lot of quarterbacks that came after him because the thing about it was in his first couple of seasons, first couple of games rather, he had 400 yards passing. His first game, he had 400 yards passing, and then the next game, he had another 400. So everybody just expected the quarterbacks after Cam Newton to come in and follow suit, but that's not always the case. If everybody was doing that, then how special will it be? So you need players to develop. Some guys are going to hit the ground running, some guys won't, but it's very important for us not to wash our hands with these individuals and have a little bit of patience. All right, we'll stop right there. We'll get back into a few sound bites. I want to talk a little bit about Derek Carr. Let me go back a little bit because this is something that's very, very important. Marshon Lattimore. Marshon Lattimore, you all know how I feel about Marshon Lattimore. To me, he is the greatest cornerback the Saints have ever had in their franchise's history. The way that he can lock down the field, the way he can take away the best threat of a team, he's been doing it since he came into the league in 2017. But, of course, as time goes on, teams start to kind of fall off. There's this when you're great and when you're talented and you feel like you have what it takes to be the best and win a championship and you actually got exposed to levels of success, it can become extremely frustrating when you're not having that success, which to me kind of drew the wedge between head coach Dennis Allen and Marshon Lattimore. But of course, we heard a couple press conferences back. I think it was at the golf tournament. Dennis Allen talked about Marshon Lattimore and him having a conversation with him, which that is what you want to hear, especially since you know what Marshon Lattimore means. But the last press conference that was held after OTAs, a question was asked about Marshon Lattimore, and the reason why there was friction and why was there a need for them to be able to address it in all season.
No, look, I just thought it was something that we needed to communicate. There's been a lot of talk outside of our building about trades and things of that nature. And so I just felt like it was probably time that he and I had a conversation. Like I said, it was a positive conversation, and we're looking forward to getting him out here when he's here and working with him.
On the Marshon Lattimore, just so that it's out there and so that people aren't like turning it into something else, is your expectation right now that he's on the roster in 2024?
Yeah.
All right. So there you have it. And that's what you want to hear. You want to hear that Marshon Lattimore will be on the roster in 2024. And I think that Marshon Lattimore needed to hear that. Here's where a lot of fans and a lot of people don't realize. These players be finding stuff out just like me and you. Like, it's not like they get the heads up. Sometimes they're watching TV just like you and me, and they're hearing this stuff. And of course, they'll call their agent like, man, what am I watching, man? They telling me I'm on a trade block. So for Dennis Allen to come out and say that they have no interest in trading Marshon Lattimore, that means a lot, because that was the first time after all the talk about Marshon Lattimore did Dennis Allen come out and say, absolutely not, I don't see us trading Marshon Lattimore. So I think that it's time to put that behind us and focus on the season. I'm not concerned about Marshon Lattimore not being at OTAs. The guy's going to come prepared. Like it's just some guys you don't worry about. You know that they're going to take care of their bodies. You know they're going to be putting in that work. You know that they're going to be training. And, I don't have an issue with that. There was some talk, with guys not being there, like Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Lattimore, of course, and they're asking, is it a concern? And it's not a concern for me. I don't think it's a concern for a lot of fans, because we know what Alvin Kamara does in all season. We know that he trains hard. We know that he's always working to polish his game. Jamal Williams, if you follow the Detroit Lions or heard anything about him, they always talk about his work ethic. So I'm not concerned about that. Now, when you start missing training camp, that's a whole nother beast right there. That's a whole nother story. But we don't have that issue. I think that these guys will be ready. They're veterans. They're pros. They know how to take care of themselves. And they're putting a lot of money into investing in their bodies. But let's go ahead and move on. Talk about Derek Carr, quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, going into his second year with the team. Second year, another offensive scheme he has to learn. He learned the Sean Payton offense called by Pete Carmichael. And now the Saints transition to the wide zone led by new offensive coordinator Klint Kubiak. So the media talked to Derek Carr about learning a new system. I mean, it's not his first rodeo when it comes to learning a system, but of course, it's a new system. So how did he fare out?
It's been great. It's a lot of similarities, just word-wise, verbiage-wise. So that's always easier on players because it's faster for us to learn. Whenever the picture is two different words in your brain, that usually takes a little bit longer, but that part has helped. It's been a lot of fun. These guys are awesome. You see why, again, they've had so much success. No matter where the scheme has been run, there's been a lot of success everywhere. So it's been a lot of fun and just been working extremely hard at it. Learn from last year, obviously going through that process, and learning this one this year. Found some ways to do it better or more efficient and learn faster, and so it's been good.
So he's getting acclimated to the new offense, just like everybody else on the team. Look, it's kind of like you got a new head coach off in this thing, especially when you're playing the offensive side of the football. A whole new staff, a lot of different voices, a lot of different philosophies that have changed, and especially if you've been with the New Orleans Saints offense, for quite some time. But Derek Carr has been in the league for a few years, and once again, this isn't the first time he had to change coordinators, because we know that the Raiders, they really haven't had stability since like the early 2000s. So there was a lot of change, whether it be from the coaches, And then when you get a new head coach, he wants to bring in his guys. So he understands that, and he understands that he has to work. But they also asked him about what's different. Last year, you're coming in, you've been with one organization for a decade. You come in, it's a different place, different facility, different voices, different places to go. You're very unfamiliar with it. So they asked him, what's different? What's the difference between last year and this year?
Yeah, we are. I told my wife this. I was like, she asked me, how's everything going a couple weeks ago, and I said, we're so far ahead of where we were last year, just as a team, just as a group of guys. I mean, we're going through this process together. So, I mean, we're having guys over at our house. We're not trying to find a house. Guys are coming over to the house. We're having dinner. We're hanging out. We're going to their house. Wives are getting together. I mean, there's just so much more of that going on that we're so far ahead, because while we're doing that, we're talking about, hey, what's this? What's the step on this? What's my foot on this? What are you thinking? I'm at this landmark. We're all trying to learn it and grow and do it together. And so I always believe if you want to go far, you got to do it together. And so I think that's the fun part about this year, that we are learning something new. And yes, it is. It's very mentally taxing to do that, but when you're all doing it together, it's cool how you can come together.
So there's some camaraderie here. Last season, once again, he's coming from a different place. You came from Vegas, even though you were there for a decade, and yes, you were a seasoned veteran, guys still have to get to know you. But now it's familiar territory, and you develop relationships, and you know how to talk to guys. You know how to address guys. You know what they look for. They know what you look for. And I just think that just kind of came with time. And I think the biggest issue, and I could be wrong, but I mean, I'm just doing it from a speculative perspective here. I just feel like maybe Derek Carr just thought, because he was a veteran, because he's been in the league for a long time, people see the numbers, people see the stats, and maybe, like I said, you've been in a certain place, you used to a certain way, but guys don't know you like that. The fan base don't know you like that, right? If you've been with the New Orleans Saints as long as you were with the Raiders, people will probably give you the benefit of the doubt, and you'll probably have more people on your side. But you're a new guy. Right? You're like, honestly, Chris Olave has more cachet than you. Even though he's been in the league, going on his third season, rather. What is it, the fourth or the third? But one or the other. All I know is this guy has more cachet than you. So it's almost like you're starting over here. So at the end of the day, you got to make sure that you're prepared. You got to make sure that you're prepared. You got to make sure that you understand your position. And most importantly, you got to humble yourself at times. You got to humble yourself. And even though you're a seasoned veteran, you're new to the place. All right. So you got to kind of ingratiate yourself into the culture, where the culture feels comfortable with you before, you start, being a loose cannon there. But we'll see. All positive things here. All great things to hear. Good to see that these guys are getting adjusted to this new offense. I'm interested to see how this offense is going to run. I know you're interested in seeing what this offense is going to look like. Hopefully they put up some points and give us some great moments in 2024. Let me stroll down a little bit. Thank you all so much for being here. Got 137 people here right now. Hit the like button. Says Saints need to trade DA, Mickey Mouse, Loomis, and Z broke down Lemon Cole. Says Chantel. Look, Chantel, I know that these guys are very frustrating to us at times, but they represent the team, and they're not going anywhere. I don't see that happening. So it's two things that can happen here. Dennis Allen just does not pan out. The season is not successful, and I don't want that. Like, I'm not trying to see Dennis Allen fired or see my team suffer at just to see him get fired. I am a firm believer, and you only can fake the funk for so long. So eventually, the chickens are going to come home to roost anyway. So no matter if you have 10 wins this season and Klint Kubiak finds another job, he becomes a head coach somewhere, then you kind of find yourself in the same position. You will have to kind of find that, that lightning in a bottle once again? Can you continuously do that? Especially if you can coach defense and your defense is continuously finding success and your offense, is kind of, on, steady Eddie. What happens when it is not that way? That's the question. Will you be able to find success? So eventually it's going to happen if you're not good at your job. At this point, I'm not getting attached to any players or buying any jerseys unless they retire a Saint. Who that? Yeah, I mean, I'm not real big on jerseys either, to be honest with you. I'm more of not the fact that I don't have respect or anything like that for the players. I just never like seem to be interested in investing in jerseys. Like I like the players and I like, seeing them succeed and all that kind of stuff, but that's just not me. You know what I'm saying? I'll buy a shirt or something like that, a Saints hat. But, since I've been doing the State of Saints podcast, I mean, I rather wear my own merchandise. You know what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect, but yeah. But if you don't want to do that, I mean, I understand. There's a lot of fans that buy jerseys quite often. And they don't seem to want to be buying it right now until I guess the team shows them something. And then maybe they'll get excited about where the team is going, and we'll see. Says I'm done with Carr. Not saying I hope he gets hurt, but I hope at some point Spencer Rattler starts. Well, honestly, I don't want to see Spencer Rattler start right now. I still feel like he needs to grow a little bit. Now, could go out there, knock it out the park, look like CJ Stroud 2.0, but I just think that you need to develop. And I don't want to anoint this dude as the savior of the franchise yet. If it works out, then it works out. But I'm not trying to put that type of pressure on him, especially when I know what the Saints want, and they're going to give Derek Carr ample opportunities to, if he starts off and he's struggling, they're going to give him ample opportunities to get out of the rut. But, that's their guy. And I don't see Spencer Rattler starting unless he beats out Jake Haener, which that seemed like that's a pretty tall feat right now because Jake Haener looks really good from what everybody is saying. So he might even be the third string quarterback. So you never know. Let's see. There is the Saints $150 million Super Bowl quarterback. Well, right now, like they gave him $150 million. Well, $150 million, $100 million guaranteed. I mean, we all know that, but you got to win. I say this, that absolves all when you start winning football games. And the way people feel about Derek Carr right now, you start winning some football games, I guarantee you people will change. People will change the way that they say about him. I still got my SOTS shirt from 2019. Well, I appreciate that, Jared. Thank you for that, man. I mean, we got some new merchandise available right now on Bonfire. Bonfire.com. You just search State of the Saints podcast. You can check out some of the latest merchandise that we have available right now. We got State of the Saints podcast, the new logo T-shirts. Got some tank tops, coffee mugs. Man, we trying to do something a little bit different this season. I put the link down in the chat. I'll take a few phone calls. We're gonna try to keep it between like an hour tonight. Want to make sure that we get through a few calls here. If you're interested in talking about Saints OTAs or the team, or like to get your perspective and what you all think about it. All right. Ask that everybody just keep their comments short, respect everybody, that may want to come on. And like I said, man, just try to keep it between the hour. We got Josh. Josh, how you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing, man? Can you see me clearly?
Yeah, I can see you, man. What you got for us?
Yeah, sorry about the lighting. This is my bedroom, unfortunately, and that's the way it is.
Nah, that's okay, man. We can see you, man. Thank you for chiming in. Appreciate it.
I don't know if I told you this, but I did cross the 200-pound marker in weight loss. Have I already told you that?
Yeah, man, you told me about that.
Okay.
I want to say congratulations to you, man. I know that you've been working really hard at that and trying to live a healthier lifestyle. So congratulations to you on that.
Thanks, man. I want to say this, man. I'm more excited about this season than I think most Saints fans are because I came to a realization about something here, man.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Klint Kubiak, right?
Right.
And we got Dennis Allen, who always fields a pretty good defense.
Right.
He's somebody who's proven many times that he can make chicken salad out of chicken. You know what? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
On the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to have an elite defense again. That means if we have even an average offense, even a middle of the pack offense, even a top 15 or even top 18 offense, we got a pretty good chance of making a deep playoff run and maybe even getting to a Super Bowl.
Right.
All we need is an average offense, you know, and whatever you think about Derek Carr, he's capable of leading an average offense.
Right.
So, I mean, even if Klint Kubiak isn't the superstar we're hoping he is, if we got a 14, 15, 16 ranked defense, there's no reason why we can't go deep with the defense or offense rather. There's no reason we can't go make a deep playoff run with the defense we have. But I'll let you respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. You know, as long as you're not like in the bottom 20s when it comes to offense, I think you should be fine. But you know, I guess I guess it depends on what side of the fence you're on. You know, some people feel like if the Saints aren't lighting it up, a la 2012 Saints, then the whole season is a wash. But you know, I think that you have to change some things, and if that means taking a ball out of Derek Carr's hands as often and committing to the running game, I don't care how you win a football game as long as you win. I mean, nobody goes back and be like, man, you won by 1 point. Eventually, like for a couple of weeks, you'll probably, or even 1 week, you'll probably say that. But after that, it's all about wins and losses. So I do agree with you. You know, if they're a top 15 offense and they play lights out defense, yeah, they can make the postseason. Now, I will say this, Josh, when it comes to the postseason, you got to be able to be playing your best football. So you're going to have to be able to put up some points because that's when teams start to buckle down. And even if you do have a stellar defense, they tend to be able to find those chinks in the armor, so to speak. So you're still going to have to be able to combat that and be able to put up some points when necessary. But you don't have to do that every game. I definitely agree with you on that.
Well, and you know, speaking of the offense, I'm in agreement with all the Saints fans and yourself especially about them picking Taisi. I'm sorry, I'm not saying his name right. Fuaga.
Mm-hmm. Taylor Essay Fuaga.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is that dude talented, but I don't want to sound all racial here, but the fact that he's Polynesian makes a huge difference because we have a lot of problems with injuries at the line, you know, and Polynesian dudes very rarely get seriously injured. Like, I know Tua doesn't count. Okay, forget him. But like for the most part, like them Samoan, Tongan dudes. I mean, have you ever been around them?
Not really, man. I mean, I know the most, you know, Polynesian people they like in like California, West Coast area.
So never get one of them. It's impossible to beat them, dude. They got hard, thick skulls, but they got harder, thicker bone structures and everything, so they don't get injured that badly. It's known about this in wrestling, man. If you ever listen to wrestling shoot interviews, I know you're a wrestling fan. When they talk about the Samoans, like they'll always say they almost never get injured. They can take any kind of bump, and it's crazy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this dude is not only does he have the talent, but he's also not much of an injury liability. I wouldn't think just because of his ethnical makeup. So he's probably not going to be hurt too much. You know what I'm saying? So when he does develop into a superstar lineman, we can pretty much count on him being there every week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that I just like his mean streak, and I just like the fact of, you know, how he approaches the game. You know, like he's like a 21, 22-year-old guy, but I mean, he carries himself like he's a 30-year-old. You know, and you know, Samoans, they're really keen on family and certain values and stuff like that, which that's a good thing because you never really have to worry about him being like a locker room issue person or anything like that. So, look, I'm just excited to see what he can actually bring to the table. I think that he can be a fire starter. And I know you haven't mentioned Trevor Penning, but if Trevor Penning can get it right, I mean, we know the type of mean streak he has, you know. So if you have that on the left and the right, you can actually build an offensive line that Saints fans can be proud of.
I still believe in Trevor Penning, man. I thought he was benched too early, and I said that. But I know you got other calls to get to, so I'll let you get that. But I just got one more thing to ask you. This is not football related. I just want your opinion on this, though.
Okay.
Does Roman come back as a good guy, or does he remain heel when he comes back?
Okay, so based on like the crowd response, like since Solo Sikoa, and I mean, it looked like he just kind of overstepping his bounds. You say he talked to Roman, I don't think he did.
Right.
But he kind of overstepping his bounds here. The crowd been chanting, "We want Roman." I think this is what WWE wanted. I think they wanted him to be a good guy, and I think that I think fans feel like it's been long enough. He's been kind of a heel. But now he's reached that. Now he's reached that like that. I guess that echelon, that upper echelon where you're not going to get booed very often. It's like Randy Orton or Triple H. Like they were known bad guys, but now when they come out, it's like they're just good guys because of the work that they put in. So I think Roman is kind of reaching that stratosphere, and I think when he comes back, he will be a good guy.
I think so too, but I think they're going to do it kind of as a slow burn thing. I don't think he's going to come back and be a good guy right away. I think he's probably going to come back and try to bring his bloodline back together right away or something like that. But he will slowly but surely get disenchanted with him and slowly but surely move over to the good guy sort of realm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how it's happening. I don't see him coming back as face on day one.
Well, I mean, this is probably something we're gonna have to talk like, a little bit later, man. But yeah, I think that is be interesting. Yeah, I'm a big wrestling fan. Definitely looking forward to seeing it. I mean, I think it's probably the most watchable it's been in probably like a decade and a half. So I'm interested to see some of those things going on. But Josh, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure to speak with you, man. Continue to work hard, man, for your weight loss goals, and I'll talk to you down the road, man.
All right, brother. Cool.
All right, take it easy, man. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Josh, man. Yeah, like, man, I'm a big wrestling fan. Love wrestling. Not gonna lie about that. Yeah, I mean, look, hey, you start talking about wrestling, man. That's close to my heart right there. I've been a wrestling fan for a long time, man, about as long as I can remember, because of my uncles. So blame them. Blame them that conversation happened. I know they watching this right now, or they're gonna be watching it if they some after show boys. But yeah, they're the reason why I like wrestling so much. I'm gonna read a couple of these comments, and then we'll get to Jerry, who will be up next here. Says they're aggressive too. I guess he's talking about the Polynesian people. Says only thing they have heart attacks early in life though. Well, look, we're hoping that doesn't happen to any of the Polynesian people out there, but they are tough individuals, and I love how they have family values, and family means a lot to them, and pride means a lot to them too, man. Like you never really see Samoan people not repping their culture. Like, and that I know most people get introduced to them probably through athletics, like football and wrestling, but even in like ones you'll probably, see like just around the way, or you see on like videos or something, they always keen on tradition and family values. And that's always great to see. Chantel, thank you very much for the $5. Says Carr versus Winston, November 17th in the Dome. Hopefully the fans won't chant Jameis if he beats the Saints. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Jameis left the right way. I think that Jameis, really showed that he valued his time in New Orleans. And I think that people are going to love him. Like that's one thing I often say here on the State of the Saints podcast. If you show New Orleans love, it's going to show love to your back. But if you don't, then they'll never forgive you for it, or it's going to take a long time. So, I hope that Derek Carr follows suit. But we're going to go to Jerry. Jerry, how you doing, man?
What's going on, TJ? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right, man. Thank you for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it. I know it's a little bit late, according to State of Same podcast standards, but
it's never too late.
Yeah. But nevertheless, man, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to chop it up with you. What you got for us?
Oh, TJ, after what I'm hearing from the OTAs a couple of days ago, how how the players look out there. I mean, they're serious out there, TJ. I mean, now we got Klint Kubiak as our OC, and I was saying in the comment section earlier. Shouts out to the chat. I said that if I was Kubiak, I would tell DA, look, you worry about what you're doing over there. Let me worry about the offense, because this offense for the last couple of years, TJ, ain't been nothing but a disgrace. But see, now you got Kubiak in here because he knows offense.
Right.
And I say, and this year is going to be a big turnaround for this Saints offense, bro.
Yeah.
And I like what I'm seeing out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what I'm seeing too, Jerry. And I think that I'll just go back to what your first statement when you were saying these guys are being serious. I mean, when you don't make the playoffs in 3 years, I mean, you got no choice but to be serious. Yeah. And then you also you combine the fact that you got to believe if you're Dennis Allen, the seed is pretty high. So you got to be able to hit the ground running. Yeah, and you also look at the first 5 games of the season. I mean, it's very realistic, Jerry. If they're not serious, they could end up being 1-4 or even 0-5. You know, like teams get better every year. So you got to approach this thing very, very serious, like more serious than you had in years past. I mean, the first year, people will probably give you a pass because you still had Sean Payton layovers. The second year, it's like, okay, you're establishing a coaching staff. This year, it's a complete overhaul, and the team is built in your image. So there's not too much that you can actually hang your hat on or blame if things don't go the right way this season. So Dennis Allen has to approach this as if this is a do-or-die season for himself.
I agree with you, TJ. And look, after looking at that schedule last week, and I'm looking at it harder, and I'm glad they that they put the schedule bye week on week 12, because I mean games 1 through 11. I mean you're gonna have some easy ones, and then you're gonna have some tougher ones. I mean look who we start with. We start with Carolina. Right. Then you got to go to Dallas to face the Cowboys. Then you got to come back home to face the Eagles. You got to go to Atlanta to face the Falcons. You got a tough Monday night game in Kansas City versus the Chiefs. Yep. Then you come right back home and play the Buccaneers. And then you got Thursday night football with Sean Payton returning against the Broncos.
Yep. And yes, a lot of pressure there, man.
Ooh, a whole lot of pressure, because I don't want us to be undefeated, TJ. I mean, if you're looking at maybe 8-3 or 7-4 or 6-5, I'm cool with that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can understand what you're saying, because them being undefeated, you're not flying under the radar. You're actually exceeding expectations for yourself. But I will say this, Jerry, they got to hit the ground running, because there are a lot of Saints fans that have been looking at this coach and his team for the last 2 seasons, and they're ready to like wash their hands with this team. If you combine the fact that Mickey Loomis has this loyalty right now to Dennis Allen, they're completely like committed to Derek Carr, for better, for worse. Like you got to be able to hit the ground running, and you got to show the individuals, and I'm talking fans and onlookers alike, that there's been a renaissance of this team. Like there's no, like I said, there's nothing else out on this team that you can say, well, it's because of him. You got to start looking at the head coach. And if you start winning some football games early, especially beating teams that the schedule makers felt and the predictors felt that you won't beat, it could change the narrative of Saints fans and get them on board. Because all the Saints fans want at the end of the day, Jerry, is a winning product. We don't care what it looks like. We just want a W in the column and consistent.
That's all we want.
Consistent play in a positive way, not the negative way.
I agree with you, TJ, and that's all we want as a Who Dat Nation. That's all we want is a win.
Right.
And that's, I mean, because we've been there and done that, TJ.
Right.
I'm talking about win. I mean, and I told somebody this, and I know somebody else getting ready to come on, but I gotta share this. The only thing that the Saints will never ever have on their records, all the years they've been here, was a tie
Mm.
as on their records, because all you see is wins and losses, because the only time when you have a tied game is if it's during the game, not as a final score.
Right.
And and that's one thing that the Saints are avoiding to get.
Wow. I mean,
I see
you
all
dropped
team. Yeah.
You dropped something on. I didn't know that. I did not know that the Saints never tied. That's a pretty impressive stat.
Never had a tie as a final score. Never.
Wow. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never knew that. Never knew that, man. Derek coming with the facts here tonight, man.
Hey,
we appreciate your contribution.
I'm just dropping some knowledge on you, bro. And I'm sure the Who That Nation knows that they don't have a tie, that the Saints don't have a tie as a score. It's always wins and losses. That's it.
Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of people like myself, I honestly didn't know that. I know, you know, there was a long time where they had a lot of losses, but ties, I did not know that. But thank you for that, man. I appreciate it.
No problem, TJ. Always the OG always dropping knowledge to the host.
Yeah.
Of the State of the Saints podcast.
Hey, and I appreciate that. But all in all, man, it's about getting back into the win column. Creating a winning culture once again, and not like just leaning on having a winning culture in the past, because we know that the NFL every year is different. You see teams that, I think the late great Macho Man Randy Savage said it best: the cream always rises to the top, right? So you always got those teams that struggle. They always seem to get a little bit better. I mean, how many times did we see the Detroit Lions in football purgatory, and they were, a quarter and a half away from making a Super Bowl last season? So teams get better every single year, man. So you can't just hang your hat on a Carolina win in week 1. You got to approach this thing as if, look, every team is 0-0. Every team is jockeying for position. Every team very early in the season feel they still have a chance to make the postseason or even a Super Bowl. So you got to approach it the way that these teams are looking at it. And if you do that, then I think that you'll find some success in 2024.
Absolutely. And give kudos to the Detroit Lions for winning the division last year, because the last time they won a division, TJ, was 1992. I was 8 years old the last time they won the NFC North. I'm talking about back in the 90s now, when Barry Sanders was playing.
Right. Barry Sanders and Herman Moore and Jim Jeffcoat and Rodney Peete was the quarterback. No, I think Scott Mitchell was the quarterback at the time.
Yeah, I remember Scott Mitchell.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I actually used to like the Detroit Lions, man, because of Barry Sanders. I mean, who didn't like Barry Sanders, man? But
because he was second to Walter Payton.
Yeah, to me, I know Emmitt Smith is the all-time leader in Russia, but I think that Barry Sanders would have still been building on that record if Detroit would have just let that man go to try to chase a championship late in his career. He decided to retire. But, yeah, man, I mean, look, I've always had a lot of respect for Barry Sanders and the Detroit Lions fan base, man. They kind of, I always got a special place in my heart for those working class fan bases, man. You just want to see them win. You just want to see them win because, you know how it is, man. Like when they win, the city feel better. Crime is down. There's a sense of camaraderie. And I like to see that type of stuff, man. I like to see the community rallying around their football team. So hopefully we can get back to that, man, because we can have some better shows. I don't like dissing my football team, talking bad about them, man. I want some better shows, man. We was talking back in 2018 where we was having a good time, and occasionally, we would have a show where they stink it up or not, but it was mostly shows where they won and we were finding like the chinks in the armor. So I would rather go back to those days than to talk about how bad this football team is. Hopefully we can get back to some winning.
Yeah, me too, TJ. I mean, I'm sure myself and you and everybody in the Who That Nation knows. I just want to see this team have fun again. I want them to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, we don't want to see the same old, same old. See, now you got Kubiak. That's going to change a whole lot of stuff this coming season.
Yeah.
And we just want the Saints to have a good time again. We want the Who Dat Nation to have a good time again. Let them know that we the strongest fan base on this planet.
Absolutely, man. And how do you do that? By winning football games and winning back the trust of the Who Dat Nation and Saints fans all across the world. But Jerry, you got anything else, man?
No, that's all I got, TJ. And I heard only one thing, and I'm gonna get out of here. I mean, I heard you. You ain't the only one that's a wrestling fan. So am I, because my grandmother, God rest her soul, got me hooked on wrestling, whether it's WWE or AEW or WCW or TNA, you name it. She got me hooked on wrestling. Anytime if you see something, if they have like an attack in the ring, you hear somebody coming, you hear the crowd go by, and my grandma was like, "Oh yes, get him, get him, get him!" Man, you can hear her from a distance, bro. That's the energy, that's the passion. That's where I got the wrestling from. Yeet!
Hey, I echo those sentiments. It wasn't my grandmother. Like I said, it was my uncles. You know, my uncles, they're like my brothers. Like, I don't call them uncle. I call them by their first name, because my mom's youngest brother is only 5 years older than me. And a second youngest brother. Well, youngest brother is about 7 years older than me. So we kind of grew up, and they kind of served as like our big brothers. So I just always wanted to be like them. I feel like I'm well-rounded because of them, because, you know, they were like teenagers, like in the 90s when, you know, hip hop was, you know, at its apex, and, you know, and wrestling was
boom boxes.
Yeah, man. And wrestling was big on television. And,
you
know, they were still during the time of the territory days and WCW. So, I mean, that's something that I always that stuck with me. And now, you know, I got Paxton. I just feel like I want to hold on to it, because it's something that maybe me and him can do. You know, I would love to go take, you know, my boy to a WrestleMania or to a local house show. So I have a lot of love and passion for that. Also with boxing, man, my grandfather, a big time boxing fan, will order all the boxing matches on pay-per-view, the Holyfields and the Riddick Bowes and, you know, the Lennox Lewises. So, you know, Mike Tyson. Yeah. So it's just certain things things that have been instilled inside of you. And, you know, it just, I guess, you hold on to it, you know, and those people like your grandmother, you know, like, once again, God rest her soul, it gives you something that you can hold on to, and something that you can value and pass on to your kids and to your other family members, your nieces, your nephews. So I just try to hold on to those principles, man.
I got you, man. Shouts out to my boy Greg Walker. he said, y'all still make me feel old. I say,
triple OG Greg Walker in the chat, man. Thank you.
That's my guy, man. Shout out to Greg, man.
Triple OG Greg Walker in the chat, man. Thank you. And thank you, Jerry, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, man. You know what you mean to me, and man, all the support that you've given me over the years, man. I appreciate it, chopping up with you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for that.
Yeah, bless you too, TJ. And blessings to you and Paxton and the wife and everybody. Y'all know that I ain't got nothing but love for y'all.
Yeah, man.
And same to everybody in the chat. I got nothing but love for y'all.
Yeah.
So because like my pastor always say, love is what love does, and that's
absolutely, man.
And that's what I give to y'all.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. They left me. They went to Alabama on me, man. But got me in the house by myself, man. I'm so lonely up here.
Hey, look, like I said, you're not by yourself, TJ. You got myself. You got everybody in the chat. You got everybody that comes to see about you. We got you, bro. Look, hey, like Jimmy Uso. Like Jimmy Uso say, we got you. We got you.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Hey, man, always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Jerry.
You're welcome, TJ. You have a blessed night and have a blessed and safe Memorial weekend, brother.
Man, you do the same, man. Take care.
All right, you too.
Yeah, man. Shouts out to Jerry, man. Look, man, they went to Alabama on your boy, man. It's weird, man, because man, I'm just used to my wife and my son always being here, so it's like gotta think. This may be like the first time. Yeah, it's like the first time. Like I think I've been in this house. Like we bought this house like 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but hey, man, they having a good time out there in Alabama, man. So she probably on social media right now. She probably strolling past. So shouts out to her. I know she probably having a good night hanging out with her family, man. No doubt about it. Let's see. They don't suck, Chantel, but they ain't all that. I would have to stroll up to see what y'all were actually talking about on that. I apologize. Let's see. I'm sorry. I know my team sucks. The Aints Lord, it's time for me to go to bed. 52 in the house. Hey, man, look. I got nothing but respect for, people out there that's been, those card carrying members of the Who That Nation, then wipe off that card a couple times, got a little dust on it, gotta blow it off, man. Been holding up the black and gold bloodstained banner for a long time, and I appreciate it, man. Look, like they say, man, I done came too far to turn back now. Hey, ain't that like every prayer warrior in church? They always got to say that when they have a speaking meeting. I done came too far to turn back now. Shouts out to all the Saints prayer warriors out there, man. They've been rocking with the team for a long time, man. Since Steve Walsh, baby, from Kenny the Snake Stabler. I mean, Archie Manning. That's how far my grandmother go back, man. Like my grandmother been rocking with the Saints since the expansion. So shouts out to all of those long-time New Orleans Saints fans out there that, they start talking about Saints players. Y'all ain't gonna know what they talking about. TJ be like, it's just me, ooh. Day one, it's just me, ooh. Day one ish. Line it all up, drop it down like this. Hey. Just me up in here. J Live here. Hey, J Live, man. Shouts out to J Live, man. Yeah, man. Shouts out to J Live. I was actually on a Dolph's podcast a few weeks ago, and J Live was on there, man. What a funny guy, man. What a funny guy. I don't know if you ever heard J Live or heard him speak. He's just a funny, witty, friendly individual, man. And enjoy talking to him. So shouts out to J Live, man. Josh, also known as Ask a Bum, he says the Bible does command us to pray for the saints. Hey, sometimes you gotta, pray for them a little bit longer, to what they say to you, to beads of sweat beam down your brow, right? Gotta wipe it with a towel, like a preacher about to come to a close. Like, been a lot of praying up in here, man. A lot of praying for this team, but hopefully this to be the year they get it together. Bum prayer won't help us. Barbara said they need more than a prayer. They need some holy water. They need that dude on BET at 2 a.m. But for $29.99, I send you this prayer cloth right now, this prayer all to bless your house abundantly, because we know that God. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know that dude that be you wake up early, like 2 o'clock in the morning, go to the bathroom or something like that, get a midnight snack, and somebody leave it on BET. The person that probably was watching BET Uncut fell asleep. Go! You like looking around like like what the? And I'm talking about, I don't know what this dude like volume was on. Like the TV, y'all know how it go, man. Late at night, you got the TV volume like on 10 at best, maybe even 5. Depends on if you're watching something you ain't got no business watching. Yeah, I'm talking to you, whoever you are. But anyway, it's like on a 5, right? But this man still, it's like you had that thing on 100. That boy said, go! Like, God dang, dude. Scared the heck out of you. Like, what in the world? Some of y'all know what I'm talking about, man. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. That dude that be on TV. You hit him the infomercial. You talk about those gospel hits. I'm coming up on the rough side of the mountain. Hey, y'all know when we start joking like this, it's coming towards the end of the show. What up with the Saints? Let me see. Jeff Landry thing. Jeff Landry? Jarvis Landry? Jeff Landry. I'm not. I don't know. You guys are good to mind. Anybody know what you talking about? You talking about Jarvis Landry? Says Kevin Harnsberry. I almost said Hansberry. I actually went to Hansberry Elementary School. I thought your name was Hansberry. I'm about to say, man, rest in peace to Lorraine Hansberry. Died very young at the age of like 30, 31, man. I think she had like lung cancer or something. But yeah, I mean, I thought your last name was Hansberry. But anyway, anybody know what he's talking about there? Not sure. I don't know if you're talking about Jarvis Landry. I mean, Jarvis Landry, as far as I know, is trying to get back into the NFL. Supposed to get opportunity with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hope he knocks it out the park. It's always the infomercials, right? Let's see. Is Pastor Curry? Yeah, that man. But hey man, we're gonna make that a soundbite. That's my homework. I'm gonna make sure we get that soundbite of who that James Samuel Everett. Yeah, man. Jeff Landry, governor of the okay, look, I don't stay in Louisiana anymore. So and even if I did, man, I don't roll with the politics. But thank you for that, Barbara. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Not too familiar with him. I assume if he's a Landry, he must be related to Mary Landry or Moon Landry, Mitch Landry. Is he? I assume. that he's related to one of them, even though I don't think is his name spelled that way, Jeff Landry. Because if not, then I don't think he would be related to Mary Landry. But them Landrews, man, they've been running the boot for about 30 years. TJ, you too much into video games. You gonna get the new cop? Man, I'm gonna just stop you right there. Hells yeah. Yes, I am getting it. Look, I will be. Look, I ain't gonna pre-order. You know what I'm saying? Because like, you ain't about to get my money like that. Look, you ain't about to get them extra $30. But the night that it dropped officially, I'm playing college football 2013 right now. Like, I got a dynasty mode right now. I didn't turn UTSA into a powerhouse. Well, they're not a powerhouse exactly just yet. They're like a 3-star team, but we just got our first 5-star quarterback. Like, I hooked up the Xbox 360 because I'm so hyped up and excited about college football. That's right. I done wrapped up the Xbox Series S, and now I'm playing this Xbox 360. Like, it's that serious over here. Yes, I am getting it. If I don't get nothing else, I'm getting college football. TJ, we got to get Big Q on the show as Reverend Saint. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Big Q. Man, it's funny you say that, Jerry. I actually reached out to Big Q today, man. On a message, man. I sent him a message because I want us to collaborate. I mean, there was times I guess, we couldn't really, get it together because, man, I had like some things going on and, he had some things going on, but I definitely want to collaborate more. I want to do more, podcasts, so, man, if you have a podcast, man, just hit me up. Like, hit me up. Like, I want to be able to do something. If I can do it, what I'm saying? Like, we can figure out a time. Like, if my schedule conflicting, like, we'll figure it out. Because I want to do more podcasts, man. Like, I want to put Saints football like up there. Like, I want to be able to like continue to like build, and I want the whole Saints podcasting community like to rally around each other. Like, I think if you do that, then, I think that, everybody would grow, everybody would be successful because everybody has a voice, I mean, you got some people that don't like do podcasts, but their voice is in a form of in the comments in the chat or on Twitter. Regardless of where you decide to exercise your voice, I feel like it needs to be heard. So yeah, man, just let me know, because like I said, I just want to do more podcasts, and I get opportunities to do some really cool stuff, man. Shouts out to my guy, RP3, RP3 and Company. I mean, he asks me all the time to be on the show. Hopefully, we get to a point where I get Matt Moscona asked me to come on, or T Bob and Jacob Hester or something like that. Man, I love to do something like that. But that comes with growing. That comes with putting more eyes on the podcast. Continuing to put really good individuals that are well knowledgeable of and really knee deep in sports journalism. Look, man, we be having some heavy hitters. Like, we ain't lacking on this show. I mean, last week, who do we have? We had Steve Weiss, my guy Brian McFadden, and Emery Hunt on the show. Right? I mean, and I was actually supposed to have my guy Holder Mayo on the show this week, but I had a little family issue that I was dealing with, so we had to reschedule. So I'm probably gonna have him on the show next week. But all in all, man, it's about just providing great content. I just want to give you all the show that you can enjoy. And see, I'm still playing on my 360, but it's modded. I'm playing with the revamped mod. Has all the new teams, uniforms, and players. It's NCAA 14 on steroids. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. I'm actually envious of that. I'm actually envious. So you was real big on that team builder stuff. I mean, I just got the Xbox 360. I don't have that little Wi-Fi antenna thing that everybody has, that gives you the access to be able to do, be on the internet and all that. I guess I probably can if I was to connect it to an Ethernet cable or something like that. I probably can do it, but I don't have one that runs directly into the room. But if I did, Lord knows, I would have that. But I'm still enjoying, man. I like taking some of the worst teams, worst college programs, and turn them into powerhouses. I take a lot of pride in that. Let's see. I can't hang on to wishful thinking. I really need to know what's the doggone deal. I somebody help him out. Like I said, I don't know. I do not follow politics. I try to shy away from things that divide us as people. I feel like when you start talking about politics, people start getting into their feelings, and you start this divisiveness. But in reality, in my opinion, none of them really give a damn about you except when it's time for you to vote for them. So I'd rather not spend my time on something that's so divisive. I know, man. That was the federal government cut me off. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. I pressed the wrong button, man. I just pressed the wrong button. But nah, I don't like things that's divisive. If the Saints move and the NFL continued having Super Bowls in New Orleans, it would be criminal. They need to leave the Saints alone. Well, look, man, look, New Orleans is a very large city when it comes to tourism. Everybody know that. Maybe if you live in New Orleans or lived in New Orleans, as a person that stays in a certain place, when you talk to people that's not from there, oh man, I bet you was doing this, I bet you was doing that, and you nah. And you have a tendency of not looking at it from another person's eyes that may not be there. It's almost like when you go somewhere and somebody's from there, and you're like, man, can I stay? When you're a kid, man, I want to live here. Stuff like that. But it's a tourist attraction. And as long as it's a tourist attraction, they will continue to be in that number, no pun intended, when Super Bowls come around, or when WrestleManias come around, or some of these other big time events, the concerts come around. That just comes with it. LOL, you a funny guy, TJ. Well, we try, man. We try to be as entertaining as we possibly can. I'm gonna read a few more. I think. Let's see. I see the talk about Jeff Landry. Like I said, I'm not too sure about that. TJ, I want you to see my Mike Tyson question. Oh yeah, put it down. Where is it? Let me see if I see your Mike Tyson question. Yeah, we towards the end of the show, folks. Thank you all for being here. I know some people got to go to sleep, but you go ahead and hit that like button. We're about to wrap it up pretty soon. It says TJ, how do you think Mike and Jake are going to choreograph the fight? It's obvious it's going to be staged, but how do you see it going? I don't know if it's gonna be staged, man. I don't know if it's gonna be staged. Like I can't see Mike Tyson being like making a mockery of a sport that made him millions of dollars and something that he's known for. Like I feel like Mike Tyson gonna give it his all. I mean, I know y'all remember that exhibition fight a few years ago when he had fought Roy Jones Jr. Like Roy thought they were just gonna be up in there, like maybe throwing a little bit of love taps. Man, Mike was banging the body, and man, Roy was on that defense. You know what I'm saying? Like Roy was like up in that thing trying to defend himself. So to me, I think that Mike Tyson gonna take it serious. Like, and I mean, he is up there in age, he in his late 50s. And you got Jake Paul, who is known for those exhibition fights. So I think that he's going to take it serious. And if Mike takes it serious, I think that you have to think about like where's his power at this age? Do he still have those snaps on that jab? Man, I can't see Mike Tyson phoning it in. I don't see Mike Tyson phoning it in. I see Mike Tyson going out there. Even if they talk to Mike Tyson, it was like, yeah, okay, Mike Tyson probably told him, okay, man, we gonna do this. Mike Tyson go out there, try to take that boy head off. Like, I can't see that, man. Like them OGs, they ain't trying to play no games, man. They ain't trying to make a mockery of something that they built. Like in modern society, like people won't take a lot of stuff serious, man. Like, they don't care as long as it can get them a quick money grab. That's why like a lot of these boxers that's been in the game for a long time, these veterans that we grew up loving, like they don't like that stuff, man. Cause they like, man, I bust my tail in the gym, like I'm running these hills, I'm running all these miles, I'm cutting cars back, I'm doing all these different things, man, to be in tip top shape for this fight. And this dude just comes up in here, on some silly WWE choreographed stuff and making more money than me. Like them dudes don't like that. And to be quite honest with you, I'm not a real big fan of it, man. Like I ain't about to get them dudes my money like that. Like Terrence Bud Crawford can get my money. Saul Canelo Alvarez can get my money. Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, yeah, he can get my money. Like I ain't giving my money to no exhibition fight, man. Like that stuff a joke. At the end of the day, like I catch it in the cliff notes. I don't think I ever seen a Jake Paul fight, ever. Never seen one of his fights. Never seen a Logan Paul fight. Never seen none of them boys fights. Every time I see like the press conference at the end or when the fight over with. Because I'm like, to me, they ain't really boxing. I mean, I think he's talented. Like, I think he can box, but when you combine the fact that these dudes in a smoke-filled room trying to organize this thing and, oh, I'm going to knock you down. And nah, bro, I'm good on that. I'm good on that, man. I talked about it earlier in the show about how my grandfather used to order all those fights, man. And I used to like be sitting there with bated breath, ready for Mike Tyson to hit the ring with the black cloak around him or the white cloak around his shoulders. Coming out there with that, just no robe, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? Lennox Lewis coming out there. Like those were the type of fights that I grew up on. And I ain't trying to sound like the old man in the room. And I understand that like the world evolves, but man, I love boxing like in its natural habitat. Like these dudes go up in here, man, they do whatever they can to try to make sure that they win and have a good fight in the process. Like I was watching that fight this weekend between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, and I'm like, man, we won at the end of the day because it was a great fight. So that's the type of fight I'm about. Them Paul brothers draw a lot of attention. It's a money grab. Yeah, it is a money grab. And like I say, I ain't mad at him. Like, if you can get that money, get that money. But to me, I just don't look. There are certain things that you just automatically know is predetermined. Like, I'm a wrestling fan, but I know it's predetermined. Like, they go to the ring knowing that they about to drop a title or win a title. But in boxing, when somebody trying to take your head off, in UFC, somebody trying to take your head off, I feel like when you start like playing in that sandbox of predetermined boxing matches, honestly, I don't see how I don't see how you can be betting on that stuff. Like, I'd be too scared. Because they can easily say, okay, man, the majority of the people got Jake Paul winning the fight. And if let's just say if he an underdog, that's better yet. Yeah, let's just say if he's an underdog or something like that. Like, oh man, he don't supposed to win the fight. Like, I still feel like that's when they can start like, changing the scenario, just so they won't have to pay out. Like, to me, I just feel like there are certain things that you shouldn't tamper with, and boxing is one of them. I ain't in fighting shape, but I am the farting shape, says I be ripping them. Thank you very much for the $2. Tyson is going to beat him so bad and have Jake tag teaming with his brother on Raw. Well, I ain't going to lie. His brother pretty talented in the ring. Like he's talented. He ain't the worst wrestler I've seen. He actually pretty good. And even though he a champion, it's kind of understandable. I think he pretty good. Tyson is going to beat him so bad. They'll have already read that one. It says, why couldn't you see me backstage, says Hurricane Mike. I don't know, Mike. I don't know why I couldn't see you, man. I don't know. I didn't actually. I didn't. The only one I seen Josh, I seen Jerry. I didn't see anybody else. But I want to say thank you all so much. My final thoughts on this show is very, very simple. I like what I heard coming out of Saints camp. Let's just keep this momentum going, right? It's a new offense, new offensive coordinator. New guys are getting the opportunity to hit the reset button, like Trevor Penning. New faces are hitting a little bit of a reset button. I'm talking Tallahassee Fuaga moving from right to left, and once again, Trevor Penning from left to right. So maybe it can actually help Trevor Penning to be able to develop into the offensive lineman he needs to be. Also, I didn't mention this. Taysom Hill playing more of a fullback type role. People are comparing this to Kyle Juszczyk of the San Francisco 49ers, the well-known fullback. I think that's a good move. Taysom Hill is so talented. It doesn't matter what you ask him to do. He always seems to find success doing that. And this is also an opportunity for some of these younger guys to be able to get some much needed reps. When you don't have those veterans that are here, they decide that they're going to practice away from the facility. It gives you more opportunities to get those reps. And the more reps you get, the better you can become, the better your chemistry with Derek Carr can be, or better your chemistry will actually be with the starting secondary or the linebackers. So for those guys to be out there, new, fresh, getting those opportunities, it could pay dividends, especially if, some of these other cornerbacks or these guys go down. I hope that they don't, but we know it's football, guys are going to get hurt. But, Derek Carr, it's a reset button for him. It's a new offense. Let's see what he can do. With a team like the New Orleans Saints this season, committing more to the running game, trying to find ways to try to make things a little bit easier, have a more of a balanced attack. Offensive line, what are they going to do? Is Nick Saldiveri going to be a part of this rotation? Will one of these other guys that they signed, like Lemieux, like Herron, like Patrick, are these guys going to get the opportunities? Or some of these younger guys going to be able to step up? We'll see. A lot of storylines coming out of Saints camp, but there's plenty of time for us to figure out who will be that final 53. But thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, My name is Timothy T.J. Jones. Really do appreciate the time. I said I was going to mention this. Reason I decided to like go by my government name now is because hell is my name, right? And I just decided to use it, man. So going forward, you're probably going to hear me introduce myself as such. Just thought I'd just change it up just a little bit, man. Nothing happened. I ain't get sued or nothing like that, but I just decided I'm just going to go that route. But thank you all so much for being here. Shouts out to all the people in the comments. Shouts out to everybody that chimed in, Josh and Jerry. Thank you so much for, calling in. We're a very interactive podcast. Rather we open up the phone lines or we're taking questions from the chat. Regardless, we try to make sure that we hear from you and your opinions and your views indeed matter. And like always, all you have to do is put those comments in the chat and, we'll make sure that we try to read them to the best of our ability. If I pass it up, charge it to my head and not my heart, that thing be rolling sometimes. But that's because of the hard work and dedication we put together to try to make this show what it is. I ask that everybody hit that like button on your way out. I ask that you subscribe if you have not already. Always, people that didn't catch this show live and they watching it afterwards, shouts out to the After Show boys.
Shouts out to them After Show boys. Shouts out to them After Show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them After Show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them After Show boys.
Shouts out to all the After Show boys and After Show girls out there. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing what you all have to say about the show. Like and share this video. Previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. And also you can follow me on X, also known as Twitter, at TJAYJones8. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.